Alrighty, hello everybody. We will get started in just a moment. Just want to give everyone a chance to join in. Hello, Christina from Houston. Nice to see a neighbor. I'm a new Houstonite myself. Just moved here like a month ago. Uh, Steve from Chicago. Hello. Joy, you're tuning in from Canada, or you're not tuning in. You're broadcasting. Awesome. Uh, Jackie or JC from Louisiana. I wonder what part of Louisiana you're from. I've got family that's in the West Monroe area. That's awesome. Jennifer from Austin. That's where I just moved from. Cool. We got a lot of folks tuning in from all over the place. If you are tuning in from the AU or the UK or Australia, hello and welcome. If you are tuning in and this is probably around 12 o'clock noon your time, then you're probably watching the rebroadcast of this. But just in case you do have questions or if you want to say hello, we'll have experts in the back end waiting to answer any questions. So don't feel like you're missing out on anything. But welcome for you guys as well. Happy that you're here. Awesome. So we've got a lot of folks coming in. Just checking the attendee numbers. All right, still trickling up, but it looks like we're gonna have a great crowd today. So just a heads up, before we get started, feel free to say hello in the chat where you're seeing all the people's names pop up. Feel free to ask your questions there. We don't have a designated Q&A time at the end of the discussion. We're gonna be answering questions throughout the whole conversation. We wanna make this as valuable as possible to you guys. So if you have questions, if there's things that you're curious about, maybe it's about the stuff we're talking about. Maybe it's a specific issue that you've been facing. If we're able to get to it, we will. But we're really excited. We've got a lot to get into. So thank you guys for joining. This is the latest installment of the AI Success Series, the AI Search Rules, How to Win Visibility in 2026. And we've got a lot to dig into. If you're just tuning in for the first time into the AI Success Series, we like to bring in experts like the one we have here today to basically give us the whole rundown on what's going on in the world of local search, what's going on with digital marketing, how is AI impacting it, how can you use AI to enhance your visibility and your overall online presence and make your marketing efforts the best that they can be. But to kind of give you a little breakdown on what's going on right now is local search is changing and it's changing fast. And it's not because Google has reinvented the algorithm, but because really AI is reshaping how results appear in the search results. It's appearing how customers find you, or it's changing how customers are finding you. It's really impacting kind of everything. And I know by this point in 2025, late 2025, there might be a little bit of AI fatigue. But the fact is that it's not a fad. It's not going away. And I think in 2026, it's only going to become more prevalent in a lot more of the little ways that people use the internet. And we're going to start seeing these changes take effect across the board. Now, in 2025, we did start seeing a lot of major shifts. You've probably seen headlines, or maybe you've even noticed in your own web traffic reports of fewer clicks or fewer calls. There's a lot of confusion about what's going on with the search results, what's driving visibility. And now heading into 2026, those shifts are really accelerating. We're seeing changes in the mobile local map packs, which we're going to talk about. We're going to see how reviews are playing a role in a lot of, like, even how the LLMs are providing their suggestions, and who those LLMs or those AI search engines are really impacting. Because I think there's a lot of confusion about, oh, do I need to be ranking on ChatGPT right now? Do I need to worry about Perplexity? Or what about Google's AI mode? We're going to get into all that. And so hopefully in this conversation, you'll get a lot of value. So over the next hour, we're going to unpack really what's going on, what's changing and what's not. And we're going to look at some real world numbers. We're going to look at some of the things that Joy's been able to uncover and get her advice on what we can do to really, set ourselves up for success in 2026. But before we jump into all of that, I want to quickly go over our webinar dashboard. So as you know, here in the chat, feel free to say hello during the conversations. Ask your questions here in the chat tab. We're going to be looking at that throughout the whole time. If you want to continue your learning, or if you want to look at some additional resources, you can check that out on the Docs tab. We've got some guides for you. We've got some amazing blogs. We have the recording from our last episode of the AI Success Series as well. And then also don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn and check out the blog, on the Birdeye blog. We've got a ton of resources for you there. And then as a special note, just to make sure we get a question about this every time, but yes, the recording will be made available once this conversation's over and the video's finished processing. You'll be able to go back and watch it however many times, whenever you need. You'll also get an email tomorrow around this time, just letting you know about that, and it'll send you a link. I think you should be able to actually watch the recording using the same link that you used to join today. Alrighty, so without further ado, let me introduce today's expert guest speaker. Joining us today is Joy Hawkins. She is the founder or the owner of Sterling Sky. She's one of the most recognized local SEO experts really in the field. Joy, you've been all over the scene. You've been speaking at events. You've been on a couple of our webinars. It's great to have you back here today, and really, just thankful to have you here, because I feel like there's going to be a lot of questions, and we got a lot of, hopefully we can help provide some answers. How are you doing today?
Good. I'm excited to talk about some of the AI stuff, because it was not what I predicted for this year, like what ended up happening. And yeah, I've learned some stuff in the last couple weeks that I haven't written about yet, or shared anything on any of our own webinars yet. So hopefully a lot of the stuff we're going to be talking about is new, and I'm thinking people are going to probably learn a lot.
Awesome. Cool. So let's go ahead and dig right in. And I think a place for us to kickstart this conversation is to quickly understand where we're at when it comes to the hype versus the reality. Kind of like what I was alluding to earlier, there's a lot of people talking about ChatGPT search and Perplexity and Google's AI mode and these AI overviews. And there's a lot of noise, or there's a lot of just talk and a lot of things happening right now. And I think a lot of people might be confused as to really what's going on. How is it actually affecting me and my business? And what can I do? So from your perspective, in terms of the hype versus reality, what are you seeing on your end, maybe with some of your clients, and what's really kind of the reality?
Yeah, I think the hype, the thing that we thought was going to happen was ChatGPT coming in and stealing all this traffic from Google. And all of a sudden, as a business owner, you need to be obsessed about, how you rank on ChatGPT, which good luck trying to figure that out. I would say that's hype. That is not something we are seeing with any of our clients. We work strictly with small businesses that have local audiences, lawyers, doctors, plumbers, home services, realtors, things like that. We are not seeing anyone that has even more than 1% of their traffic coming from ChatGPT. Like, it is so low. It is way less than Bing. Nobody ever cares about Bing. You don't hear businesses obsessing about the ranking there. So I would say that ChatGPT currently is not a contender for something to worry about at this point. And I think it's going to take them a while, even though they're growing really, really quickly. It's going to take a while before they get to the point where you need to really care about how you rank there. So, if you're thinking 5 to 10 years in the future, sure, like at some point it might be a contender for local search. But as of right now, it is not something you should be worried about. What you should worry about is the AI changes that are happening on Google. So specifically talking about, I know we're going to talk a lot about today, is like the AI powered local packs. That's a big deal. How many ads Google has launched for small businesses this year? Huge deal. And I've got some numbers for that. And also AI mode, which is, very much in the air. Like Google did release some numbers, and I can't remember what they were, but the number of people using AI mode, they announced that recently at their financial earnings report and stuff. And it's not high yet, but it is. People are using AI mode, and that is very much a black box. I think that the average small business owner has no idea how to track.
Yeah, I think that's a really great distinction that you made earlier, is that you'll see a lot of headlines about AI taking over traffic and all this stuff, and websites, not seeing nearly as many clicks. But a lot of that doesn't have to do with local searches and businesses who are, whether even if you have one location or 200, when it comes to the intent, the local search intent, we're not quite seeing that same sort of action happening. So I guess really when I'm trying to think about the best way, I mean, where we want to take this conversation to get started, though. Um, when it comes to this real disruption, you were talking about the AI local map or the AI local packs. What is that? Like, what is the AI local pack? And maybe how is it different than maybe the traditional local map pack? And, why should people be paying attention to it? What are people missing?
Yeah, so I think you have a visual, right, Justin, to show.
Yes.
So people are generally unaware that this is happening because it just started rolling out. We started seeing this, I think, for the first time about a month and a half ago. And when I spotted them, I was like, this is huge. Now we're seeing them on our own clients for about 7% of all our reports. So about 7% of the queries for everything we are running for all of our clients, we are seeing these AI local packs. But it was zero 4 weeks ago. Like, so, and I was also originally only noticing it in certain industries. Now we're seeing it in tons of different industries. Definitely the most prominent in lawyers, but like there's lots of other industries where they were not there before and now they're there. It is only
Mm.
on mobile. It is usually for terms, not always. Usually you more likely are going to see it if you enter in a city with your search. So for example, in this case, child custody lawyer in Milwaukee would be more likely to trigger one than just child custody lawyer. Only the US as of right now. But I think the reason why most people are unaware these exist is because they're usually doing a lot of their searches at work from their computers. These are not on desktop. These are only on mobile as of right now. And I think there's a couple substantial things and reasons why you should care. The
Yeah.
order of the businesses, totally different than the traditional local pack. And to be clear, this replaces, for most searches, the local pack. Like there's
Mm.
no local pack, this is there instead. We've seen a few where there's two, which is weird. Like it's the traditional local pack and then an AI powered local pack, which is wild. Um, why it's so substantial, I think there's a few things. There's no call button. So we are seeing for clients that have this rolled out, a drop in calls, like 100% big drop in calls, big drop in clicks as well to their website. The other problem is that it shows 1 to 2 businesses, no longer 3. It's either 1 or 2. So I asked Places Scout, who is the ranking tool that we use, to run through all of our reports. And I said, can you tell me, given all the reports that we have for clients, how many unique businesses these AI packs show um, versus like normal 3 packs? So when he summed it up across every report, regular 3 packs were showing 18,330 different unique businesses. When AI packs were present, it was 5,934 unique businesses. Again, there's only 2, right? And then also they work differently. So way less businesses are visible with these than our traditional 3 packs. And I think the removal of the call button honestly just helps Google's bottom line because guess where the call buttons do still exist? In the ads. So I think that's the only explanation I have for why Google would do this. It is not a great user experience. Like look at that tiny little website button. When you click on anything in that result there, it just takes you to the Google business profile if they can match it. There's lots of cases
Yeah.
I've seen where they can't actually match it to a business profile and then it's like terrible. There's no reviews, there's no anything.
Wow. Wow. And so that
I know,
is a
that was a
major.
lot, sorry.
No, no, I think that's great. I think it's and like you said, a lot of like this is something that I don't even think about. Like I use my mobile look all the time when I'm searching stuff, but I don't think about it in that way unless I'm looking at it in, you know, like like you said, a lot of people are doing these things for work when they're on their desktop, and so they don't
Yeah.
pay attention to it on mobile in that way. Um, just to do a quick rewind, can you give us a quick definition of what the local pack is and break it down?
Sure.
Like, what are people seeing here?
Yeah, so normally when you do a search on Google, and I think you may have a screenshot of this too, like you get a traditional local pack that has 3 businesses in it. On mobile, you're usually getting a call button. It links to their Google business profile, and there's 3. So what is different about this is this will be labeled as AI overview at the top. Yeah, so here you go in the middle here. That's a traditional 3 pack, right? Or
Wow.
local pack. And then that's what it looks like on desktop on the right. So on desktop, you get the website icon, the directions icon. On mobile, usually you get a call button. And yeah,
Hmm.
so I'm going to talk about this screenshot here too. We're also seeing that Google is shifting for lots of industries to the layout that you're showing here in the middle, which does not have a call button. It has a photo instead. And they started shifting this for lots of industries years ago. So dentists have had this layout now for 2 years. And we actually tracked what happened to dentists when they got this layout, when it rolled out 2 years ago. And what we saw was shockingly, and not shockingly, the number of calls dropped again. Like when you remove call buttons, number of calls dropped. So that and it was substantial. We partnered with Jepto. They looked at like 4,000 different dentist profiles and showed me a graph. And basically, you have this graph of calls, and it's like burnt when this layout rolled out. So we're actually seeing this layout here. I think it's been around for beauty for a while, but like it just started rolling out for lawyers. It makes no sense. I'm like, why do you need to see a photo of a lawyer? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it started rolling out for a bunch of different industries in the last couple months as well. But this is like your traditional local pack, whereas the previous screen, if it's an AI powered local pack, it says AI overview. And when you do a search, it's like generating for like a second and then it loads. But like I said, it's not for every query yet. It's like 7% based on the reports we've been scanning. But it's way more than it was like 3 weeks ago when they first rolled it out. I could barely find one of these. I was searching like dozens and dozens of queries trying to find anything. And I could think I could only find one in garage door repair. Atlanta was one that I could always trigger it on. And then like personal injury law Dallas, I think was one of the others that I could always trigger it on. But I was having a hard time finding it. Whereas now we're seeing it for like our electrician clients. We're seeing it for our senior care clients, like tons of industries have it now.
Yeah, and I think that's also a really interesting thing to take note of. Like in the chat, I see Nicole saying, I cannot duplicate this on mobile web. Is this in the app only? It's it's also one of the things that makes this super difficult is that it really depends on the industry. It depends on how you search. But I think it's also safe to assume that when you start to see these things happen in maybe small pockets, they eventually grow into kind of the main deal. So Nicole, for this one, I pulled this screenshot here on the right. I searched divorce attorney Las Vegas, and that's how I was able to find it. So it's really interesting on how it really depends on your industry. That's also what makes it so difficult, especially on the AI side, is like it seems like it has a different thought process for every kind of industry or whatever kind of search you're using, adding one word like best or what is the best versus just best dentist or it a lot of this stuff just it adds so much variability to it. It does make it a lot more difficult to really understand how it's actually making these recommendations.
I would love to. I don't know if you can send images through here, but I would love to see Carrie's image of like a call button on an AI result. Like I haven't seen one yet, but
Yeah.
somebody shared one the other day where they did see a call button on desktop, which I'm like, what? On an AI powered local pack. I've not been able to replicate one of those myself, and our rank tool that we use takes screenshots of all the SERPs, and we only scan mobile. So I've got like I've looked at like hundreds of screenshots showing these, and they usually appear like what you're showing on the screen here. That's the usual format. But like there's lots of different formats that I've heard of in the wild. So I would love to see that photo. I don't know if there's a way to like send it in here, but I'm
Yeah.
curious to see examples.
Yeah, Carrie, if you want to send it to, I'll type out the email. Hello at
I don't know what social
there. If you want
platform
to
people
send,
are
if you
using
just
these
want to
days.
email it there, I can pull it up,
Perfect.
get that image there. But awesome. Thank you. Yeah. It's very, it's definitely bizarre. And so you, like you're saying, you're only seeing this in about 7% of searches, but you are seeing this trend increase in
It's
terms
growing.
of where it's happening.
It's increasing fast. Like within weeks, we're seeing it increase. And I'm like, oh, we ran this report like last week and it wasn't really there. And now all of a sudden there's tons of them there.
Wow.
So yeah, the how it's rolling out is a little scary.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and it's interesting, over your experience, I mean, you've been doing this for a while. Have you noticed specific industries seem to be the guinea pig industries
Hmm.
for Google changes, or does it really depend? Like, are there any patterns in that regard?
No, like I mean, the fact that they rolled out like photos to dentists, I don't know why they picked that industry. Like that was a weird one for 2 years ago. I was like, why do you need to see photos of teeth? Like I don't know, it doesn't make any sense. They rolled out for
Yeah.
pest control too, which I thought was gross because I didn't want to see pictures of bugs in the search results,
Yeah.
But I don't know how they pick these things. What I originally saw with this pattern is like home services, lawyers were two that I saw this rolling out to right away. But now I'm seeing it, like I said, for like senior home care and things like that, like industries that are not at all related. I don't know if I've seen it for retail yet. I'd have to check, but um, I would assume that if they were going to hesitate to roll this out to anything, maybe retail will be left to last. I don't know. I honestly, I don't have a crystal ball. I should stop making those
Yeah.
predictions.
But I
I have
mean,
no idea.
it's one of those things that it's really hard to predict. I mean,
Yeah, it
I
is.
need to go back to some of the webinars from, you know, a couple of years ago when ChatGPT first came out and some of the things that we were, you know, talking about.
Yeah.
Marcella was wondering, you know, could this be something Google's testing and then because of feedback or frustration, it changes
So
or reverts? Have you seen that happen with other features maybe, or
with
what's the
nothing
track
with
record there?
AI, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like AI, they seem to be like full blazing, like, going down this road. I'd say based on their like last quarterly earnings report, they're not doing so bad from an ads perspective. And this helps their ads, guaranteed. Like I've got some data on that too. We want to talk about ads, but like if since this helps their bottom line, I don't know why they would roll it back. Like, I don't think they
Mhm.
actually care about small businesses feedback. I think they care about the average user's feedback, like their Google users. They don't want people leaving Google. And I think they care about their advertisers. I
Yeah.
think, that's who I think they
Yeah.
really care about.
Yeah, and I do think that's a great segue to really, you know, what can a business do about this?
Hmm.
And you know, and I think there's, you know, there's a short-term solution and there's a long-term solution, but I think in the short term, what, you know, you and I have talked about has been on that sponsored side. And I don't know if you want to dig, if you can dig more into that as to
Yeah.
the approach and kind of what you guys are doing.
Yeah, I'll tell you on the SEO side, there absolutely will be stuff to do. The trend I'm noticing, who's featured is different. So it is not the same businesses. That's the scary thing because, if you were dominating the local pack, this rolls out, you don't necessarily dominate. Now I'm seeing a lot of overlap. There's certainly cases where a business was high in the local pack and then high in these AI powered ones as well, but not always. Like because it shrunk the number, it's it's hurting more than it's helping. And I'm seeing cases where like the divorce lawyer in Vegas, that one, we have a client in that industry in Vegas, and like they dominated local pack results. They are okay. They are the leader or one of the leaders in the AI results, but their overall visibility is down a ton. Like, but so is everybody else's. Like the leaders in that industry, all of them, their visibility is down a lot, I should say, not a small amount. So the long term, like I would say, we have kind of two things. I'll talk about ads first. So ads is unfortunately, I think, going to become a necessary thing. It's becoming more play to play. I hate saying this. Like my team is like, like I'm an SEO by heart. I do ads as well, but like it kind of kills me to say that. But I'm also a realist, and I'm like, if that's the direction Google's headed, okay, like
Mhm.
why do they deserve to give us all free traffic? Like there's a part of me that understands the business side. So what we have noticed in the last year in 2025, the amount of times that those local pack ads show up. So actually I think you had a picture of them on the previous screen. So they're on the
The-
previous screen, you had a local pack on desktop with an ad at the top. So and
Yeah,
then
right
there's one in
there.
the middle. So those, I call them local pack ads. They are traditional ads. The amount of times that used to show up in a search result at the beginning of the year, based on all of our ranking reports, was like 1 to 3% of the time you would get a local pack ad. Currently, I believe it's like 17. Sorry, let me double check my numbers here. I think it's 17% that we're seeing them now, or
Wow.
something like that. Like it's insane how much they have gone up in the last year. So that is the trend that like nobody's really talking about, like how
Mhm.
much these are showing up, and that's a recent thing, like the last couple months. But it's been slow rollout throughout the year. But like there's this massive spike based on our ranking reports in November, October, November.
Yeah.
So huge
And could
spike.
that
These are
vary on the
everywhere.
industry too?
Possibly,
I was
yeah.
doing these screenshots, and every time I would search for oil change,
Mm,
haircuts, dentist, they were everywhere. But then I would do a
yeah.
search for like coffee shops, and there was nothing.
Mm.
And
Right.
so
Well,
there's a big
depends on how many
variation.
people are advertising. Yeah. I don't
Yeah,
know how many coffee shops advertise using Google Ads,
that's
right?
true.
Maybe, I don't know, right? But I would
Yeah.
assume you're more likely to see them on those higher ticket verticals where like you probably every lawyer search because they make a lot of money off of every client. I would say where you're probably less likely to see them is where less people are running ads.
Mhm.
Um, but just like the graph that I was looking at when we mapped out how often these show up based on our ranking reports, which run constantly, like there's this huge spike in October, November. Like these are everywhere, all over the place, on mobile, on desktop, like all across the board. But really where they spiked was mobile. And again, I don't know if people are noticing because I'm not sure how much people check mobile.
Yeah.
The good news is the cost per lead on these has gone down. Like I was looking at one of our clients in the last 3 months, like how good their ads are doing that are like these types of ads. Like they had 100% increase in conversions, a 68% decrease in the cost per lead. So it's
Wow.
great for the advertisers, right? Like
Yeah.
he's running ads, his ads account looks amazing. um, so it's great if you're running Google ads.
Yeah. Is there a specific type of ad? Like
Yeah,
Marcel is wondering, search or display, and that was going to be my next question too.
yeah.
Is there one type that you're seeing most of?
It's a location asset, location extension, whatever you want to call it, on a regular search campaign. So these are not local service ads, but those are, I don't know if you have pictures of local service ads. That's another thing that has massively increased in the last year. Because for
Mhm.
industries that have local service ads, we're seeing a local service ad pack, a sponsored ad in the local pack, and then an AI powered local pack. It's just insane.
Yeah.
They're in like local services are home services, realtors, lawyers. They're starting to roll out for insurance. There's a whole list of verticals that Google has for local service ads, but they are definitely not in every industry.
Um, Leah's wondering if you could say two sentences on this disruption and the need for SEM campaigns. How would you sum it up?
I, if you are a
That's
business that is not running these and they are in your area, your organic visibility is going to decline. Like I don't think there's any doubt about that. So if you're not running ads, you will likely see less and less leads from your Google business profile if this is rolled out. I would say like if, big if,
Mhm.
in your market. So I would say the ROI on local service ads and regular Google ads is better currently than it was a year ago. So that's good. There's some good news here. So if you're running ad campaigns, your cost per lead is probably less. I don't know if that will change as more and more people are like, turning on the ads.
Mhm.
But we have certainly seen on our end that, just the frequency of the ads showing up has really made it so that the cost per lead is
Yeah.
better.
Yeah. And I think that's a great kind of segue again to the more maybe the long-term outlook. And I've always kind of felt when it comes to ads, it's great until you stop paying and then you stop seeing the results. And it's important to I've always kind of likened it to steroids where it's like you can work out, go to the gym, pump yourself full of steroids, and you get super jacked. But as soon as you stop doing the steroids, it all goes away. But if you were to do the organic search version of that, which is just consistently going to the gym, eating right, doing those, core foundational things correctly every day, it you may not get as jacked, I guess is the way to put it, but you're still going to be strong. And
Yeah.
so, as it relates to the organic side versus the paid side, um, what are some of the things that we could do on the organic side in terms of making sure that your visibility stays strong? Because even when I was putting some of these slides together and I was looking at these screenshots, I would see like I think it was this one here on the left for oil change service. Like you have this Jiffy Lube oil change that's the number one result right off the search, and then as soon as I went down past the sponsored parts, that was also the number one organic result.
hmm
And so, is there a combination of paid and organic that you should be focusing on as a business?
Yeah.
And that approach, yeah.
I mean, the reality is your Google business profile is still usually the main driver of leads for most small businesses, regardless of this change. Even if that number has shrunk, it's still number one. So I have not seen anything overtake that. So it is still important. It just the sucky thing is that how many you're going to get from one single profile, one location, whatever, is shrinking, right? Because the
Mhm.
visibility is shrinking. So how many you're getting from that is shrinking. So I have two recommendations that are not on the ad side. Other than running ads, I would say if you're going to focus on things, consider expanding your locations. We have some clients in this boat right now. They're pretty much maxed at their current location. They're never going to rank in more areas. They're ranking as well as they are going to. And so over time, what we expect is their leads are actually just going to go down, which really sucks. But these changes are kind of doing that. So our advice to them is like, have you considered opening another office? And this is something I advised for I saw there was a question about service area businesses. I have the same advice to service area businesses because they're often not thinking this way. They're like, oh, I work out of my home. I don't need additional locations. Like, no, if you're a service area business and you service 15 cities, like consider opening up offices in some of those cities, like small offices where you have like maybe 1 or 2 staff, nothing really crazy, because you're not going to rank there anyways if you don't have an office there, right? So that is something I'm suggesting to people, like consider adding another location because your current one is maxed. The other thing would be if there's an asset that I think is the most valuable thing a business owner has that they don't even necessarily have to buy SEO to get, it's the reviews. Those reviews are not only on Google's local pack, they're in the AI packs, they're in the ads, they're in both types of ads, local service ads and the regular sponsored ads, and they're also getting pulled into ChatGPT. So your Google reviews are like everywhere. ChatGPT used to be pulling in something else, and now they pretty much like solely for small business searches pull in Google reviews, which is wild considering they're like competitors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember there was some talk of like, is that legal or are they allowed to do that? And, are they actually pulling? That's the Wild West that we're in right now.
The irony is that Google's been doing this to businesses. Like they literally scrape our information and then use it. Like, so you're telling me that you're not okay with somebody else scraping your information? Like what? Yeah.
And so it goes. And so it goes. And so, I want to dive more into the organic side. We have a couple of questions about that. But I did one question from Rick caught my attention that I thought was kind of interesting. And he's saying that Google is requiring such a high buy-in. He goes, I was going to try to advertise, but they wanted a minimum buy-in that was about 5 times what I wanted to spend. And if I paid what they want, I wouldn't be semi-retired anymore. Can you tell us more about this buy-in aspect and what that exactly means? And
the only thing that you are committing to is you can't dictate the cost per click, obviously. Like that's something Google determines. So there are some industries, like especially with lawyers, like sometimes there's keywords that cost $100 or $200 a click. And there's really not a whole lot you can do about that. All you can do is run a bid for what you're willing to pay and hope it gets some traction, right? And it may or may not, depending on how low your bid is. The more you expand your targeting, the more likely you are actually going to get some clicks for whatever it is that you're willing to spend. On the local service side, there is a cost per lead. So that is set on the lead basis. Again, you can't dictate that, but you are able to have budgets and things like that. So there's no minimum budget per se. Like if you want to spend $500, you can spend $500. Just if you're a lawyer, you may only get like 3 clicks. But I would say like our recommendation to businesses usually is start with a smaller budget, see what you get. If you get an ROI and it's positive, obviously, then increase your budget. Like I would never be like, go spend $10,000 a month on Google ads when you've not done it before. That's not a good idea.
Yeah. Abe is saying that there are still some industries that are not available for LSA, especially outside the US. Will this new update still affect those profile rankings? Is there anything, I mean, you're based in Canada, so is there anything that you were seeing on your end?
Yeah, we do have local service ads in Canada. We are not seeing any AI powered local packs yet. So I would say Canada is usually behind the US by like 6 months. Like, I don't know, on average like things roll out in the States and we get them in Canada later. So I think that was true for AI overviews. We didn't see them in Canada for a while when they were in the States. So they always start with the US with features. So all I'd say to anybody is Canada is now you have a preview into what's coming. And if it stays in the States, it will likely come to every other country unless there are laws. Like I know the European Union has like laws on things, so things are different there. But I would expect Canada to follow the US.
Yeah. And then so to kind of get back into the things that you can do organically, maybe even the things that you shouldn't do organically, William's asking, what do you think about all the bot or purchase reviews in terms as a practice?
I don't see that getting any better, to be honest, as reviews become more valuable, you will have more fake reviews, and people will go to any length to sell them. We've actually seen a huge wave of fake reviews in the last couple months from extortion. So there's a whole team overseas that is, they've got like thousands of Google accounts. They're bombing businesses, mostly in the US, with negative reviews. You'll get like 12 or 13 in a row. They'll be detailed negative reviews, like not blank. And they'll be like, oh, this place was horrible. I did this and this. They're all lies. And then the last review will be like, hey, if you want these removed, contact me on WhatsApp. Like, are you kidding me? So I do think, especially since it's so easy for any country, anywhere, to set up a VPN and create these accounts, I don't think that problem is going to go away anytime soon, unfortunately. But Google's definitely aware of it. I don't think they do a very good job of it, though. Like, you just
Yeah.
have to be vigilant and basically like watch your stuff and know what to do. If you do get hit with this the scam that I was talking about, the good news is Google is aware of that and they do take them down pretty quickly as long as you flag them, and then they have a dedicated form that they came out with that you can report the scam on. So that's somewhat good news.
Yeah. So getting more into the organic side, like I think one of the ways that we've talked about in the past of, whether it's combating negative reviews or, fighting those types of spam efforts is to generate more positive reviews. Because like, as
Oh
you were
yeah.
saying, they are everywhere. I mean, if you go
Hmm.
to ChatGPT search, you search for something local and it will say XYZ has been recommended by a lot of people. Like it's always all those searches, even in Google AI mode, it always talks about like what people, supposedly real humans, are recommending. And, in addition, to reviews, what would you say is on your Google business profile checklist? Like,
Hmm.
if for the people in the audience right now, if they're wanting to make sure that they're taking care of those core foundational things, with generating a lot of positive reviews is one. What are some of those other elements that you're wanting that they should be focusing on?
So this is going to sound like stupid, but keywords in the business name is still a huge ranking factor. So we still actively recommend to lots of our clients when we onboard them to rebrand their business and get a DBA that includes the main keyword they're targeting. Sounds really stupid, but if you are a marketing agency and you want to rank for SEO, you would rank better if your name was Joy Hawkins SEO than like Joy Hawkins Digital.
Yeah.
So usually for a lot of businesses, we tell them like, you don't need to go redo all your signs and everything. As long as your digital presence reflects that name, you have a legal DBA. If you are redoing your signs in your office, absolutely go with the DBA. But we've actually helped a lot of businesses do that because it is such a stupidly large ranking factor. So that is one, may not be doable for everybody. Another is which page on your website you link to. That is a huge impact on ranking as well. So generally, we say, you want the page to be relevant. Sometimes that's your homepage. I've even had some multi-location businesses where we have switched from a location page to the homepage and seen a ranking gain. It's a really easy thing to test. So I would strongly recommend trying different pages on your website if you don't rank well. If you rank well, don't mess with it.
Yeah.
Um, what else? Services is a ranking factor, so fill those in. Uh, Identity attributes are ranking factors for those things. So, like, for example, if you have like female owned or women led, you will rank for things like women owned marketing company, women owned restaurant, whatever. They don't help you rank in like generic searches though.
Uh,
And then I'm trying to think
we
of anything else.
we got a
Sorry.
question of, should the keyword be in the listing description or listing name? I'm thinking about
Name.
name spamming, but might have misheard you.
Name spam. It's not name spam if you actually have a DBA, right? So I'm not saying just shove keywords in there, although I've definitely seen businesses do that. There is very little enforcement, I will tell you. So you may even get away with it if you do that, but I don't actively recommend that because there are some risks and you might get suspended. And I would never want to recommend something that could get you suspended. So I would suggest doing it the proper way. I did a whole video on how to do it, how to like name your business correctly so that you're not breaking Google's guidelines. And essentially you just need to have a DBA and have your website accurately reflect that business. So like redo your logo and yada yada.
Yeah. What about the number of services? Can you list too many services to where it looks like you're trying to capture everything, or is that not a thing?
No, I mean you're wasting your time if you are adding duplicates and things like that. But if
Okay.
it's a keyword you want to rank for, and it's especially the niche ones, like where I can see this work really well is like something like pest control, where there's like 500 different types of bugs, and you could like technically list all of those as services, right? Like, hey, we do
Mhm.
ant extermination, and we do spider extermination, and like, I don't know,
Yeah.
list all the bugs.
So one of the things this question just popped in my head because I was thinking about the small business versus the multi-location aspect and the naming. Like if you were a multi-location business and you had a lot of, however many locations, but you're different cities, would you essentially want to create the DBA for that location to be like, you know, Justin's Burger Joint Austin, Burger Joint Houston? Would that be something that multi-location businesses, or does that affect the overall branding because then it's different names for the same business? How does
Yeah,
that affect it?
I would not add locations in there if you're a big brand. I would make your brand name, obviously have a keyword in it, but like if you're a big brand, you probably have bulk verification, so you want
Yeah.
consistency. So I would just keep it as like the same. I very rarely recommend a DBA with a location in it. I think that's usually only something that I would recommend if they have a single location and don't plan on expanding.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Let's see. Do we have any other questions here? I did see that we had one question about uh combating like this person was in the education service business. Like how do we counterbalance the lack of Google reviews as an education service? Would you
Oh
say
man.
the best way
Oh,
is to try to generate those reviews?
I mean,
I
no, like
mean,
if you're in educational services, you don't have reviews on Google. It sucks.
yeah,
But the good news is none of your competitors do either. You're all in the same boat.
yeah.
So unfortunately, in that industry, no, you should not be focusing on reviews. I mean, maybe other sites, but I don't know if other sites are as visible as Google. I would maybe check to see like what ChatGPT is citing for reviews for those places. And also another one to look into that could be really good is Reddit. Like, see how you are on Reddit.
Mm,
Reddit is often one that I know AI will cite as well. And people don't think of Reddit as a review source, but it is one of the highest, uh, most frequent things we see for brands when it's like, insert brand plus reviews on Google. Like Reddit is very, very prevalent.
yeah, I think that's actually a great point in the overall search results. Like we're seeing Reddit and these forums popping up all over the place.
Yep.
There's been a lot of talk over the past few months, especially as it relates to Reddit. Um, we have a really great discussion with Andrew Shotland and Adam Dorfman. They went and they did a Reddit kind of deep dive at Birdeye View. Um, what are your thoughts overall on Reddit? Like, is this something that you're seeing that maybe general local businesses, multi-location businesses should be trying to figure out? I mean, it's a very difficult platform.
It is. Yeah.
But I mean, it's everywhere. I mean, I'm seeing it in
Yes.
almost every search result in some sort of way.
We just started doing it for clients. I will tell you that it is very hard. The biggest thing that people fail at with Reddit is you cannot be promotional. So, like, for example, we have a pretty big brand and they definitely have some negative threads on Reddit that people post. I had experience with XYZ and yada, yada. It's not good. Like, we had a reply where it's like, call us at, phone number that I was looking at this morning, and Reddit filtered it because they don't like phone numbers. They don't like anything that's promotional. So, you can't like put a phone number in there. You can't half the time if you put a website link, the mods will delete it. So Reddit is very tricky. The biggest thing that you want to do with Reddit is to be genuinely helpful. Like you have to basically offer advice. So we're doing this right now with a lot of our lawyer clients. We are looking for threads that like somebody has a legal issue and they're asking for advice, and people are usually very like shy to provide financial advice, legal advice, whatever online. So they have to put these disclaimers. But the more helpful you can be without giving a guarantee, the better. Like don't violate any ethics laws, but like the more advice you can give out for free, the better, which sounds kind of crazy, but also I can tell you as a business owner, that's literally my career path has been giving out advice for free. So
Hmm.
it will pay off. It is a long-term thing. But once you are branded as an expert in your field, I would argue that the long-term payoff is well worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely an interesting thing because I'm seeing a lot of Reddit and I'm seeing a lot of Yelp as well. Like I think
Yelp, I've got no tips for. Yelp is like, I mean,
they're
Yelp, everybody hates them. And I say everybody, every business owner I've ever talked to hates Yelp. They are so strict. I think that Reddit, I've gotten a lot of really good success. My go-to for Reddit usually is like once you're active on Reddit for a while, try to do an AMA. I've done like a
Mhm.
ton of them, and the AMAs are usually the only time where you can be a tiny bit promotional because you are literally giving out your time and advice all day long. And they usually will rank for branded searches too. If you put like, "Hi, I'm Joy Hawkins from Sterling Sky," literally ranks for a branded search.
Yeah. It's it's definitely one of the most difficult things to maneuver through. I'll be curious to see. I mean, and it's crazy because they are such a strong ranking. I mean, if I feel like Yelp is in every search result for a local business, and like even here on this left
I know.
screenshot is right under the local pack, and it's best oil change near me, and then the first non-pack result is the best 10 oil change stations in Houston. It's it's very prevalent. Hopefully, hopefully we'll be able to get some more information from them. I think we're trying to get some discussions lined up with some folks from Yelp to try to help get some clarity on that
Yeah,
next year. We'll see
we
how it goes,
should.
but I'm excited. I'll be curious. I have a lot of questions for them. I'm sure. I'm hopefully the audience will too.
Well,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. Oh,
Yelp
you can go
is
ahead.
like they don't even want like companies like yourself to work with them because they don't want you to solicit reviews, and I feel like they just cut off every possible reason for people to like them. So it's hard to be a fan of Yelp given how ridiculous they are with everything. But the only thing I've heard of is like, oh, if you run ads on Yelp, then if somebody clicks on your ad, then they're going to get a prompt to review you. And I'm like, you're telling me to like tell people to pay money to the company they hate? I don't. It's a hard conversation.
Yeah, it definitely is. Real quick we got a question. Can you clarify what AMA on Reddit means?
Yeah, so it's kind of a Reddit term. It's Ask Me Anything. I think there are other sites, social sites that do this, but basically it's like you do a thread where you're telling people like, "Hey, this is my field. This is what I'm knowledgeable in. Ask me anything." So like, I mean, I had one that I did on my company where people are asking me like revenue numbers. They're asking me like, how long do we offer contracts? Like they're asking me all these details. I'm basically sharing it all. So you have to be willing to be a bit of an open book to do well with it on Reddit. But they can be a really, really great source of like just getting your reputation up on Reddit. So if you care at all about Reddit, it's definitely worth doing. It's very time consuming.
Yeah. Um, so, wow, thank you guys so much for all the questions. We've got a lot of things here. I want to make sure we get to as many as we can. Um, let's see.
There was a good one
Uh,
earlier on review numbers. I don't know if you saw that one.
I think I missed it. Which one?
So it's like, is there a certain number of reviews that matters? I definitely, I've done a lot of case
Yeah.
studies and testing on this. So we have found that if you are a small business and you get your 10th review, you will get a ranking boost. I've never seen it at any other interval, but we actually tested this on a whole bunch of businesses where we took them from 9 to 10. And then we took a bunch of other businesses that were already at 10 and then left a review and then they bumped to 11. These are real reviews. I wasn't like faking reviews or anything, but like the ones that went from 10 to 11 did not budge. They stayed the same. The ones that went from 9 to 10 all increased quite a bit in ranking.
Wow.
Um, that being said, the number of reviews you want is not 10. It is fully dependent on how often your competitors are getting reviews. So what we have started tracking internally is like if you are in a market where the top five, we look at the top five ranked businesses, we look at how many reviews they are getting a month, and that is the goal that we tell you to go for. If the top five businesses are getting 30 new reviews a month, that should be your goal to either meet or exceed that.
Yeah. Um, oh, this is a good one. What's the importance of frequency versus quantity?
Frequency over quantity, always. Like frequency matters. Darren Shaw from White Spark did a video on this where he talked about this like restaurant, I think it was, that had 4,000 reviews and another one that had 300. And like the one that had 300 outranked the one with 4,000 when they started getting more new reviews because
Mhm.
it's the frequency. The one with 4,000 had like nothing recent. It's a
Yeah.
sign to Google that you're not in business anymore.
Yeah. Frequency. Yeah, because frequency also ties to recency.
Yeah.
So if you're getting a lot of frequent reviews, you're getting a lot of
Yeah.
recent reviews,
Yeah.
and that makes total sense.
Yep.
Um, an interesting one here, and I think this is actually, a good spot for us to even just talk about AI search as a whole, maybe not even directly for local, but just kind of what we're seeing on the AI search side. Rick is saying, I used to get about 300 visits per day to my website, but since Google
Hmm.
AI, I get a handful. I stopped blogging and I moved to Substack because I wasn't getting enough readers. Does blogging on your own website still help you rank at all?
It does. And that's the irony of this entire thing is like, yes, Google's sending less traffic to websites, no doubt. Like I will show you graphs in Search Console for all of our clients for our own website. And it is like, if you're maintaining the same level of traffic you were at the beginning of the year, you were doing amazing. Forget
Mhm.
increasing. Um, I've got ones with blogs. There's this one electrician that we work with that had like, I don't know, hundreds of blogs. And like you look at his graph, it's like a cliff this year. It's brutal. But content still is one of the biggest things that impacts ranking. So we are just now starting to test with like these AI local packs have descriptions on them, and they are not descriptions that are taken from the field that you enter on your business profile. So they are AI generated. So I'm like, where do they come from? Like, what's the source? Turns out it's your website. So we go to your website, we change around the words on your website, we watch and see if the description changes. It does. So you can influence the AI results the best by what is on your website. So your website matters a lot. It still matters for ranking, matters for AI. It is also like one of the biggest, sourced things in ChatGPT as well. Like is the
Mhm.
business website.
Yeah.
So.
And it's a great opportunity. I mean, it's an opportunity for you to really kind of help set the narrative of your business with that
Mhm.
too. Um, it's it's interesting because, like you said, it's one of those things where we're not seeing a lot of that stuff happening with a lot of local searches, but it also depends on your industry. And
Mhm.
Rick, I think I remember you were saying you're a lawyer or in the legal field, and I imagine a lot of the website traffic was coming from people asking legal advice on Google, and so they were getting those answers from the AI overviews now. Criminal defense. So yeah,
Mhm.
so they're
Oh
probably
yeah.
getting a lot of those answers now from AI overviews versus going to your website to read it. Um, but you still are, kind of like what Troy was saying earlier, you can still kind of brand yourself as that expert.
Yeah.
And,
I think
yeah.
that in that the thing that you should think of if that was your angle, if you were like huge into blogging because you wanted to be seen as an expert, you wanted to hit a lot of those informational queries, I think the go-to strategy long term will actually be social media, to be honest, because that's the approach we've been taking at my agency for ourselves. We have gone really heavy into video. That is almost the AI like equivalent of like it's the AI killer. I'm trying to think of how to phrase it. Like AI will never replace human beings. So when people want to follow other human beings, they may not go to Google as much anymore, but like YouTube, Instagram, like whatever the platform is for your industry. And I think it really does vary based on the industry. If you start investing in a strategy there as like the lawyer expert in whatever town you're in, and you do a good job of it, it will pay off, but it takes forever. So it takes like 1 to 3 years probably minimum for that strategy to pay off. So it is a long-term commitment. It's not what I would recommend to the guy that says he's retiring, but like if you're early and you're looking to be that expert, 10 years ago, they might have said like, you need to be blog, you need to constantly be writing. I think that the go-to now is going to be more video.
Yeah. Um, we got a couple of really good questions. So one of those is, what specific things should we be including on our website that helps us be findable through either AI queries or even just through Google in general? What would I mean, I know, let, yeah, I'll just leave it at that and let you go through. And what are some of those key website elements that you would recommend everybody to
Yeah.
have?
So our content strategy has completely changed in the last 2 years, like completely different than what we were doing back in like 2023. So what we are looking to do for blog content or content on websites is content your competitors don't have, which is like polar opposite what people used to say in SEO. They'd be like, oh, look at what your competitors have. You create those pages. Problem is, if you create the exact same content your competitors have, there is absolutely no reason for Google to rank it or include it anywhere. So we are looking for like niche topics, niche things that people aren't writing about. AI is great for the record at generating some of these ideas. Um, that's kind of been our approach for content. So think of the topics they haven't read about. And then the other big one is data, like anything that you can publish about like client stories, examples, if you're a lawyer, talk about cases you've actually done, what happened, as many details you can give without, breaching any confidentiality, of course. But like people want stories. That is why Reddit is winning. Because it's user generated content, it's real life stories. I've gotten better medical advice on Reddit than I get on most medical blogs. And it's actual people are saying very different things than
Mhm.
what I get with all the disclaimers that basically just tell you you're dying.
Yeah.
So that's where I think you can mimic what Reddit's doing. Every business type has stories. So if you're a garage door repair business, talk about like this problem somebody had with the garage door, what happened, what caused it, how long did it take you to fix it, how much did it cost you to fix it, where did it happen? I don't know, create your checklist of things. But most businesses don't do that. They don't publish any data. And that's what the search engines actually want and AI wants. They do want data.
Yeah. One of the questions here, and I can't believe we didn't get to this one, or I didn't think to ask this one originally, but like Charlotte's asking, since Google's getting rid of Q&A, do you recommend adding Q&A or FAQ pages on your website? Does phrasing matter?
Phrasing matters a lot for AI. Like rewording things. Again, this is where like you can look at the patterns in the AI review, match those patterns, and you're already like a well-established business website. You can take over that AI overview. If you're not a well-established business, you're not just going to bump up there overnight. And so the phrasing definitely matters. I would not be posting Q&A on Google business profiles anymore. We stopped doing that a while ago.
What about on your website though?
I would not structure it as an FAQ page, because usually if it's a frequently asked question, you want to page about it. You want to blog about it. The only time I would not, again, dedicate an entire page to a specific topic is if Google already has that answer 5,000 times already in their, and you're not giving them anything new that they already have 5,000 copies of, then don't bother. But think about like, what are different things or ways that you could phrase that haven't been answered? Like, we were diving into this for a dentist and we're like, what things can you talk about as a dentist? And we're like, what about like, can you eat pizza with dentures? Can you eat gum with dentures? And then like insert every type of food. I'm like, people talk about like some of the common ones, but they may not talk about like some of the niche ones, right? So it's like, if you find a pattern, which we found patterns in certain industries that you can get niche with, then I think that's still working really well for content.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I guess that totally makes sense, because when people are having these conversations on ChatGPT, it's usually because it is a niche request, or they have a lot more nuance or context that they're providing into that conversation. And so when ChatGPT is looking for those results, it's not just best oil change. It's best oil change that's within this area for this type of car. X, Y, they have like 5 other things that they're, that might be part of the conversation. And so having like all of the, or more, maybe illegal advice is probably a little bit more nuanced, but there is a lot more context and nuance with those conversations that ChatGPT is including in its search or in its recommendations that it's pulling from. So having those types of niche topics and those things covered on your website might help pull that stuff in.
Yeah, if it's detailed and niche, it's good content. Like if it's not, if it's generic, and again, look at your competitors' sites. If they all have it already and there's nothing you can add to it, I wouldn't even bother. The one time I would bother is if none of them have any data. So it's like, if they don't have dollar amounts, for example, if they don't have prices, you're gold. Like I'm always encouraging businesses, like put your prices, how much jobs cost, how much things cost consumers is information they're searching for and they want to know. And very few businesses actually list this anywhere.
Yeah. So we're almost at time, but I saw that we have a question from Tyler saying, like, how have you tracked or quantified the incremental shift from online trackable engagement to other sources like AI mode, ChatGPT? Are the businesses you partner with seeing a drop off, a plateau, or decrease in business metrics? Are the AI changes a net loss for business impact, or does it help? But we have less visibility into it. I think, one of the things that I'm really happy that we have here at Birdeye is a new product that we launched called Search AI. And it is something that allows you to get a better idea of how these AI search engines are, whether they're impacting your business or if they're recommending your business. With Search AI, you can actually see what prompts are being used when ChatGPT is recommending your business, or when people come to your website from ChatGPT, what is the prompt that they use, whether it's Perplexity, Gemini. It's a really cool tool that allows you to kind of see that. Actually, that's the review side. That's Search AI. But it'll kind of help give you recommendations here, kind of like what you were saying, like the different descriptions that ChatGPT would give for a business. It can give you here's what ChatGPT or Perplexity or Claude or whoever is saying about your business. And it really kind of helps you uncover a better understanding of like how your business is actually being portrayed on these AI platforms, and gives you recommendations on how you can actually improve it. Whether it's the sentiment of like, here's actually how they're talking about your business and what they're saying. And so it's really, really cool. And then real quick, last thing is with the review side, as you talked about, Joy, the reviews are still extremely important. That's kind of the thing that has made Birdeye what it is today, which is our ability to help businesses generate reviews through automated campaigns. And now, being able to respond to those reviews with more authentic responses and not just your typical bot responses, but especially with the ability to do it at scale. So if you have 1,000 locations, you can help monitor all of these reviews that you're generating with the automated campaigns and then respond to them at scale, which is pretty cool. So if you guys want to learn more about that, feel free to check it out at birdeye.com or reach out to us at hello at birdeye.com. But with that being said, I just wanted to say thank you so much, Joy. It was an absolute pleasure to have you on. I always enjoy our talks. I feel like this hour flew by, and so I'm really happy that you were able to join us. And thank you to everybody who's tuned in. Thank you all for your questions and your comments. Hopefully, we were able to help give you some clarity on kind of what we're seeing and some advice on what you can do to help set yourself up for success. 2026 is set up to be kind of a crazy year, but I have no doubt that if you put in some of the advice and tips that Joy gave us today, we'll be just fine. But yeah, so thank you very much, and yeah, thanks again, Joy. It was a lot of fun.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Cool. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you.